Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Trap Drop Podcast. I am, of course, BallKnower TC, and I'm joined by a couple of esteemed BallKnowers today. BallKnower Randy, welcome to the show, Randy, as always.
Hello, BallKnower TC. It's good to be here. It's good to be chopping it up about the NFL season.
We have a special guest today, resident BallKnower, Mr. Bob Sturm.
Yes.
Flex.
Heck yes. It's so good to be with you boys. I'm first time, long time. This is a real pleasure.
And what a fantastic week to have you on with, Los Boys and Coach Flus losing to the Bears last week. Your Packers taking a really strange L against the Browns, and then the Packers and the Cowboys playing one another this week.
Yeah,
What a world.
yeah. No, it's a busy time, and it's one of those weeks where I have to be ready to be on my toes, but also to lay low and not make everybody hate me. So I was explaining to my son this weekend. If you live in Dallas and the good people of Dallas have made you a very proper living, then try not to annoy them the 1 week a year where invariably the Packers and the Cowboys will meet up. That's my goal.
That's strong wisdom, strong advice.
Yeah, I stay away from the stadium this week. People are shocked to hear that, but I stay away.
And you're not going to the Ryder Cup. You're just going to be floating around Dallas, trying to make yourself scarce and just
locked in
on the airwaves.
Locked in my fortress of solitude and just making sure that we don't take any false steps in this very sensitive week. You know, when I was a young lad, TC, the Cowboys murdered the Packers every single time they played. And then it flipped as an adult or as a older adult, I suppose. And now the Packers do a lot of damage to the Cowboys, and it's neither way is pleasant, to be honest. I wish they would never play each other, but here we are.
Well, you and Nico Harrison can probably hang out, make yourself scarce.
He does a great job, man. You never see him, so he's at least good at that.
Well, let's thank Mr. Jeezy first and foremost, through whom all things are possible.
Yes.
We got a lot of feedback on our Mayor Pete, Secretary Pete episode. Listen, we were just chopping it up about airports. It was a very bipartisan, nonpartisan. I think everybody can agree on infrastructure, right?
That's
so,
right.
Thanks for everybody for listening. We got a lot of nice notes. We got a lot of kind of a window into the way the internet works these days, and just comparing.
Unsurprising. I would say we were pretty eyes wide open on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you new to this, TC?
No, but I think even just comparing and contrasting the feedback on X, the Everything app, versus Instagram versus YouTube was pretty wild look into just kind of the siloed, kind of almost bifurcated or trifurcated society we live in these days. So mea culpa wise, of course, this is brought to you by ServPro, #1 brand in cleanup and restoration, known for making any mess like it never even happened. Over 2,200 locations nationwide. They're fast for any size disaster. ServPro is here to help. Just call 1-800-ServPro or visit servpro.com. Randy, I feel like it's only right for us to let's talk about our draft, our team draft, our BallKnower draft.
Sure.
Neil, Poosh, you and me. Quick update on the standings. You're in third at 11 points thus far. Poosh is in second at 14. I'm in first at 15. And then junior BallKnower Neil is in last at 8. Kind of a tough scene there. But on the mea culpa front, anything that you really wish you had a do-over on or you need to clean up?
Well, I just looking at my teams, I took the Broncos with my second pick. They've been a little disappointing thus far. Should have won that Colts game at least. Played the Chargers tough. We'll get into that. So I'm actually not terribly disappointed with that one. It's my third round pick, the Houston Texans, who are 0-3 and do not look dynamic at all. I have big worries about the Texans. So that would be one, TC, if I could call in ServPro and make it like it never even happened. The Texans, not good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you got some frisky teams between the Cardinals, Seahawks, Bears look like they're on the come up. I think you're going to be hampered by the Saints. Just they're going to kind of drag you down there.
Course, but
So
that was last pick.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
it is what it is for the Saints. They've
I
actually been more frisky though than
yeah.
I would have thought.
Well that's Sturm's guy. Uh you know,
Kellen?
Kellen.
Kellen,
Oh
yeah.
my
Sturm's
gosh.
the biggest Kellen guy there
Yeah.
is, I think.
Stern's
Oh
a
my
huge
goodness.
Sean Payton and Kellen guy.
I've got
So
enough bad takes. You don't have to slander me with fake bad takes because I will tell you that Kellen made me crazy, and I don't know what to say. I mean, so many things. You want to talk about being a made man? So many things when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I just have to kind of shut up about, I suppose. And Kellen Moore is one of them.
I think my mea culpa would just clean up. It's I don't even think it's anybody's fault other than maybe Burrow's fault just for lacking the most important ability. I reached on the
Wow.
Bengals in the second
Wow.
round and not a good performance this past weekend. They got
Dreadful.
yeah, run out of the place. Just yeah, I'm not liking what's going on there. Baugh 0, as we've glossed him, or new Baugh, as somebody else said. Was disappointed in the Ravens last night. That was a very, very Baugh-esque loss. Otherwise, I mean, I got the Colts in the last round. The Colts, they're frisky. Loving what I'm seeing there. So, but yeah, I think it's got to be Los Bengals. I mean, I drafted them, ahead of the Packers. Like Packers fell to the third round. Do you believe that?
I was listening with great interest, trying to figure that out. But you guys were all over it. I love the draft. It's pretty crazy. And the thing I was thinking about when I was listening to that whole thing was you guys need to adjust a little bit more for soft schedules, and that like the
Yeah.
NFC West
Yeah.
just getting to play both Souths in the same season. That might be like a win and a half boost for all of those teams. And that's, I think we're already seeing that in the standings, aren't we?
But then again, I think the NFC West is like all those teams are very good, I think, too. So they're all going to beat the hell out of each other as well, right?
Yeah, there might be a fair amount of that, and the randomness of injuries. So the fact that that entire division only has 3 losses right now is a testament to some quality, but also the fact that they're all playing cupcakes except each other.
Yeah.
So that we'll have to sort that out, but it's going to take a while. Like the 49ers, they're 3-0. Does that mean they're great? Yeah, I'm sorry, Pooch. I don't think it does, but I also don't think we're going to know all season because they have the best schedule in the NFL. So it's fun.
Well, they did beat the Cardinals, which was certainly that was well earned, and I think they've fought through some injuries here as well. Just got a big one last night with Bosa
Hmm.
coming down officially.
That's
So
huge.
yeah,
I feel like
truly,
Bob. We joke in baseball. You don't need to check the standings until Memorial Day. I
Right.
almost feel like there's some type of corollary in the NFL where, with the shortened preseason, and I just feel like we don't really know who and what teams are until honestly about week 4, week 5, maybe. I feel like certainly the first couple weeks, I don't necessarily trust anything.
Yeah, and if you listen to coaches around the league talk, most of them will say, let's talk around the deadline, which is Halloweenish every year, and now you got 8 games, or in some cases like 7 and a bye is usually normal, and now we know, are we 5-2? Are we 3-4? Are we chasing the season? Are we in good shape? And really, are you avoiding the landmines of losing one of your top 5 players to a season-ending injury? And if you lose QB1 or one of those top 5 guys, or in some cases both, for months at a time, you're screwed because unlike college football, you don't have a 5-star waiting on the sidelines. And it's just offensive line and quarterback are so thin in this league that you don't want to say it's random because the same teams do win most years. So it's not random, but there's a randomness to a good season that requires just smiles from the injury fairy, I suppose. Just saying, we shall bless you this year, or we shall curse you. We're not sure yet. We're gonna let you know as it goes.
Let's do this real quick before we do anything else. We get a lot of listeners that bitch at us, bitch and moan about you
That
didn't
doesn't sound like our listeners.
Usually,
you
I'm one of
didn't
them.
cover my team. You didn't shout out my team. You didn't even cover. You know, Lions fans are guilty of this, and this is a pro Lions household, right?
God, the
Yes.
Lions good
You
last
know,
night.
Bucks fans are like this. So let's just go through each division. You
Okay.
guys give me one word that just describes each team right now and how you're feeling about them moving forward.
One word. All
We'll
right.
start out with or a phrase or something like that. NFC East, Philadelphia Eagles. Start with you, Bob.
Bullies. They're strong on the offense and defensive line, and that will travel. So they're legit for that reason.
Randy?
That's more than one
Yeah,
word.
I'll just say it seems like they have an ability to flip the switch when they need to, which
Yeah.
the good teams do, the experienced teams do.
I think Hurts, he's a leader, man. He's a leader. I don't think he's elite, but I think he's a leader. And I was impressed with that Rams win last week. It was gritty as hell. Teams too. A lot of teams last week in the NFL, guys. It
Big
was
time.
teams week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to circle back on Jalen Hurts later, write that down. We'll come back
Okay.
to a fun Jalen Hurts talk, I bet.
All right. Washington Commanders.
I'm nervous. They're old. So much depends on Jaden's durability. It's a good team, but probably we've pumped their tires a little too much.
Randy?
That was one
Yeah.
word, Randy.
They feel 9-8 to me. They feel middling is the vibe I'm getting.
Plasticky.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cowboys. We're certainly going to talk about a lot about the Cowboys, but just preview that.
Horrendous defense.
You can throw horrendous in for the H in the hits
So
principle
bad.
for Coach Flus.
They need CeeDee Lamb
And Micah Parsons, probably.
I think they need a lot.
and
of
Micah
them.
probably. I was very bullish on the offense, but without Lamb, they didn't look great.
Giants.
Good draft and perhaps promise, but I don't know if Dable can survive. Not good.
If
The
Jackson,
defense is really good. Defense really good. The front seven is great.
they have some pieces. I am very much a Jackson Dart skeptic. If Jackson Dart is your answer, I'm not sure we want to know the question, but we'll see. I think we're going to see sooner than later.
I think we need Jameis in there. Just sling it. Or the Bengals need to trade for Jameis. I mean, and I think Abdul Carter's a light body. He's just not my kind of end.
Yeah, but with Burns and Thibodeau, he can move around. And I think that's a dangerous front with big, sexy decks there in the middle too.
Yeah. All right, NFC West, Niners. We're quarantining the Niners glazing to right here.
I mean, the Shanahan scheme is repeatable and fantastic. I just have major questions about the depth and quality at the high end these days. They've thinned out a little too much.
Randy?
Yeah, I don't think they're a factor. They're 3-0, but I don't see the upside.
I think they hit on Upton Stout's a stud. I think the defensive reinforcements they got, like they hit on a bunch of dudes. I think they hit on a guard too.
I think Bosa changes all that though.
It does. So,
Are we? Is Brock Purdy? Have we just settled that Brock's the guy? I feel like there's a Brock conversation at some point.
I feel
Somewhere
like his contract settled that.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly better than I originally gave him credit for because I am susceptible to draft status, and if you are in the 7th round, you're there for a reason. I've had to amend that, and but I also think, yeah, the the more we put on his plate, we're going to have diminishing returns, I
I
would say.
think that's right. I
Yeah,
think that's a good
I think
way to
it'll be
put it.
interesting to see what happens with Kittle out over the next
for sure.
however long.
And those
All
dudes
right.
have all played so
Yeah.
many games.
Yeah. Rams.
Really like their defense. Jared Verse is so good. So much depends on Stafford being able to get out there every Sunday. That was a horrible loss Sunday.
Truly a
Horrible
horrible
loss.
loss. Especially
Yeah.
after like they were rolling like that. Randy, you said that running play was, I don't know, like just so well schemed. McVay's got him ready to play, and then they just collapsed, and some of that was teams and all of that.
Yeah.
So
I like the listen, I feel like we're going to find out a lot about the Los Angeles Rams here in the next 3-4 weeks. They have the Colts at home, they have the Niners at home, and then they go to Baltimore. The verdict's out, but I think we're going to learn a lot.
Cardinals, shots, explosives. Not seeing enough out of them, out of Marvin Harrison 2.0.
Yeah, that's it for me. Is the Cardinals' offense always leaves me wanting, and I don't know if that's a QB1 take or their weapons. They run the ball better than they ever should.
I
Although,
think Trey Benson's going to be
yes,
a good thing.
I don't disagree, but I have a hard time putting them up in the teams to take super seriously category.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. As much as I want the Cardinals to make the leap, I don't think they've made the leap yet. They feel like a 7-8 win team to me at this point.
Yep.
Seahawks.
Really physical, and Darnold's the wild card. They're probably the team in the NFC I have the least handle on how good they are. Them in Atlanta, I think, are like, man, I feel like there's a wide range of outcomes available to those two teams.
I think they should have won that opening week against the Niners. I thought that was a pretty bad loss, all things considered. I was impressed. They went to Pittsburgh and put it on them. They handled the Saints. I actually am probably the most bullish right now on the Seahawks. I like McDonald. I like. I think he can coach, man. I was so impressed when he was the DC in Baltimore. As Bob said, though, it's Darnold, and I just can't get there with Sam Darnold. So I think they have a clear ceiling that they're going to bump into with him.
Yeah, that was an impressive win in Pittsburgh, I think.
Yeah.
I just don't know whether that offensive line is built to last with the physical brand of ball they want to play.
That's a great question.
All right, Packers.
For the first time in a long time, their defense should be taken seriously. So I think they'll be around for quite a while this year.
I loved seeing the malcontent Jair Alexander be a healthy scratch a couple times already with the Eagles.
It's we do have questions at corner, but pass rush wise, it's pretty sick. And then Xavier McKinney in center field is great.
I think they're a very good team. I think they should be a Super Bowl contender. I don't even ding them too much for this Browns loss. Like, the Browns have a very good defense. I've seen enough of this Browns defense. Like, they are legitimately good.
I think Myles Garrett's the best player in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and I think Jim Schwartz is a maniac. He might be one of those just coordinator guys, and if you put him in charge of your team, it's too crazy, as we might have seen. But that dude's a true psycho. We're calling defense.
I think from like a Packers perspective, I still like we're 4 years in now. I still don't know, or 5 years in, I still don't know what to do with Jordan Love. He kind of reminds me of Victor Hovland in golf. Like, I just don't know what we're gonna get week to week, or it's just volatility.
I'm not here to say he's elite or amazing, but it is crazy to me how many people are like, yeah, CJ Stroud's better than him. And they just start making a list of guys that are better than Jordan Love. And I'm like, are you watching these games or are you just kind of going on draft status or what are you working with? Because Love's overall
It's
body of work is ridiculously good.
it's very good. I think one of the things that gets me, I can't move beyond when I watch him, is all of those throws that like all those throwaways that he just throws off his back foot. And it just doesn't look good. And I,
Well,
I and I like I need that's a me problem, not a him problem. But
no,
it
I mean,
but it always just looks like he's kind of fundamentally just throwing off his back foot or fading away
he's
or
closer to Favre than Rodgers with decision making, and I'm not sure if that's good or bad because I think Rodgers lost games because he didn't want to ever throw an interception, and Love will YOLO it 50 yards down the field and just say, "Let's see what happens here." And that sometimes that's a horrible plan, but it's sure fun to watch. So I'm with you. A lot of truth to be told yet.
Vikings.
Brian Flores and his defense is so hard to play against that the offense often doesn't matter that much. They're still going to be in every game.
Yeah, I don't I think JJ McCarthy might stink, quite
Yes.
honestly.
No, I
And
agree.
so I have real reservations about the ceiling of this team, but I totally agree with you, Bob, that the defense they're gonna win games. I just don't view them as a legitimate contender come playoff time.
No, you do need quarterback play in the playoffs, but that defense will get you there. And I still come back to they should have franchised Darnold just to cover themselves. Like franchise him. You got 1 year of him and McCarthy, and you feel good about continuity. Maybe Carson Wentz can get him by, but that
That was
felt
my
like
question.
that felt like a really cheap decision to just be like, yeah, Darnold, you can walk when they could have just tagged him.
Does
Yeah.
Wentz, like, moving forward, I mean, Wentz looked good and he's got a good command. Like, seems like he's exactly what they brought in JJ McCarthy to at least do the next couple of years.
Which is
He
even
just
weird because they had
Yeah,
Daniel Jones last
yeah,
January. And
yeah.
and I mean, the one thing about the Shanahan system is the quarterback is largely interchangeable, and that's by the way, that's a feature, not a bug. They are not quarterback reliant, and so when Kevin O'Connell kind of does a similar thing where it's like, just give me a quarterback who understands what I need from him, and we're not freelancing and we're not making it up. I think I think that's what's so great about the NFL nowadays is they don't just put it all on the quarterback.
Yeah. Lions.
They're probably the best team in the NFC. I mean, it was nice that Green Bay beat the heck out of them in week 1, but that's not the goal. The goal is to have a better 17 weeks, and Detroit is just so solid, and Jared Goff might be the most underrated quarterback in the league
They listen, that week
because of
one.
his season on Hard Knocks.
God, you're
It's
gonna
it's
have so many Eagles fans just chirping you. I love it.
well, I can live with that.
Yeah.
It happens every
That's
day.
probably not any different than yeah.
No, but I think Goff is fantastic unless you hit him 10 times a game, and with that offensive line, he doesn't get hit. Very Aikman, to be honest. If you want a Jared Goff comp, it might actually be Troy.
I cannot say enough good things about that performance in Baltimore last night. Going in on a Monday night and really pushing the Ravens around and a couple of big fourth down conversions. I just thought that was like I think we saw the Lions ceiling, and if that's their ceiling, it's Super Bowl contender. I think they answered any doubts we had after that Week 1 performance in Green Bay. I just am so impressed. They have an identity. Dan Campbell continues with 2 new coordinators. It's very impressive.
And the identity is I want to murder you. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the
True.
I want to go for it every time. I want to run up the score if possible. I want to basically make you not ever want to play us again.
I don't think, Bob, I don't know if you know offhand, I cannot remember seeing Lamar Jackson tackled like that. Would they get like 7 official sacks? I've never seen a team get to him like that. It
Yeah,
was incredible.
and the theory that you can't spy him, I mean, Detroit sort of put that to rest pretty well. And that's way more than one guy. That's again scheme and keep him in the well and try to use guys to funnel him towards the linebacker. But I love what the Lions do, and I'm very biased because Dan Campbell goes way back with our show and stuff. But what a perfect type of disposition, since we all grew up with coaches that were always trying not to get fired. He's like, screw it, I just want to destroy everybody, and it's really refreshing.
It's a great fit for the city of Detroit too. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
and to see him up there in the Cowboys, just with Yahoo after Yahoo at the helm, you just wonder, like, you had this guy, like, he was a Cowboy, he's from DFW adjacent, he's an Aggie, like, he would have been perfect for either A&M or the Cowboys, and he's never going to leave Detroit because they'll let him stay for 20 years if he wants.
I love that secondary. I think once they really get to Slaw going as well, that's going to be fun on the offense. And then St. Brown, like if you need a first down, I think he's just man,
He's
what a
good,
dude.
man.
He's a warrior. He's a culture setter, all those things, man. And he's a fourth rounder. So again,
Yeah.
if you want the secret of the NFL, find difference makers on day 3 and then never let them leave. And Amon Ra is incredible.
And he does run this shit.
Yeah,
He does
We
run this
do.
shit.
as he said. But I mean, that's his brand though, and he stands by it. And it's that whole team there's no mystery who the Lions are, and that's why if you're like a Packer fan or a Vikings fan or whatever, it's just like, all right, we realize they're a problem, and they're going to be a problem for a long time.
Bob, what's your favorite Dan Campbell story?
Man, there's a million of them. My favorite one though is probably just the fact that him and Marco Rivera would. First of all, Marco Rivera was the coach on my kid's flag football team when he was like 6. It was another dude, but he was like best friends with Marco Rivera, and so Marco was having back problems, and he would come over and he would coach these kids, and I'm like, holy crap, this is one of Favre's guards who signed with the Cowboys, and he's coaching my kid. Well, him and Dan Campbell were buddies, but Dan was still in the league, and every once in a while they would just hop in an RV and go to games and just drink beer, and so they were at the '07 NFC Championship game at Lambeau with the Tom Coughlin frostbite cheeks and Favre throwing an interception and everything. They were at that game, even though they just got done with their own season. And they just, that's who they are. Dan Campbell is dude in an RV with beer going to games because he loves ball so much. And so I think everything about Dan Campbell is just so perfectly on brand. And he's never deviated except he cut his hair like a man who sold out to get the job. I wish he still had super long hair. We've never really seen that in the league, but I love that guy, and I also love the fact that he'll return a text within 30 minutes, no matter when, and he's never changed, and that's the best.
Was he showing up to your kid's flag football game?
He, you know what? I think he was at one practice, so
Yeah.
he wasn't. But I knew him because he did a weekly show with us when he became a Cowboy, because he was brought in as like one of Parcells' guys. So like we're talking '03, and he's a backup tight end, but we knew he was full of personality because he was an Aggie. So we're like, just do a weekly show with us, and we became friends 20 years ago. And the fact that he's become like the main character in the NFL in 2025 is tremendous good luck on my part that he did our little midday show 20 some years ago.
Amen.
I
All
think
right.
real quick, Dan Campbell, I think I know it gets lost on me, but where we are today with him, I think it just bears mentioning real quick. He started, there were real, like, people were laughing at Dan Campbell and the Lions for a while. They started 0-10-1 his first year, went 3-13-1, and then in year 2 got off to a 1-6 start. And I think it was more of a punchline at that point. And to his credit, to the team's credit, they've never veered off of that original vision and identity that
Scouting.
I think he wanted to instill in them. And 3 years later, they're finally reaping what I think they spent a long time sowing there.
Randy, I'll go back. I'll go even further. Go watch his introductory press
Yeah.
conference the day he
Fighting the
took the job,
kneecaps.
and everyone is laughing. Like, who is this freaking musclehead who is coaching this team? And he surely doesn't understand analytics, and he surely doesn't understand the finer points of strategy. He probably couldn't find PFF with a compass, but he's now the coach of the Lions. See, this is why the Lions stink. Go back and watch that press conference. Everything
Yeah.
he said has come true.
Yeah.
Literally everything the guy said has come true. And he's an innovator on analytics in terms of fourth downs, in terms of using trick plays and deception. Obviously he got ripped because they lost that 49ers playoff game because he flew a little too close to the sun. But he goes down and he's
That's
not
him
going
being
to.
authentic, though. Like
Yes,
that's yeah,
he's not going to change. Like, that's
yeah.
what got him in that
It's in his
position.
DNA. Yeah.
So I am so proud of that guy. And then he's quoting Metallica lyrics to his guys during Hard Knocks. So it's
Yeah.
really, it is weird, guys, that the team that probably is going to ruin the Packers over the next how many years is a guy I love so much. And so if people are like, well, do you have trouble? Who do you cheer for when they play? It is like watching your son play the team you grew up. I mean, he's such a good dude, and I just want success for him on every level.
I thought some of the consternation or laughing about his introductory press conference. I loved his introductory press conference, and I thought
There's no TC anywhere on the interweb with you just having a
no.
laugh
I
and
think if
biting
anything, I think you
kneecaps.
could probably go back and say like I loved it. I was
Okay,
all about the guy early on, just because I think we need more of that in the NFL.
we do.
There's too much just sterile vanilla bullshit. You know.
I'm with you. I didn't mean to profile you, but you seemed like the type of guy that would have been having fun at his expense back then.
No, no. All right, Bears. Let's transition to Bears.
They're right there with the Cowboys and Bengals in terms of incompetent franchises because of incompetent ownership.
Mhm.
But Ben Johnson might be too good. He might also be enough with Dan Campbell DNA that maybe he can change it. I thought they made a big mistake by not making sure Jim Harbaugh was their guy when he left Michigan. I thought that was a massive mistake, being a Ditka guy and everything. It seemed too perfect. But Ben Johnson did some stuff on Sunday, including going for it on 4th and goal for no reason except just to be a jerk. That was perfect. So if he's going to bring that Lions DNA to Chicago, maybe they have a chance after all. Was that one word?
I,
I'm sorry.
I'll just say I'm there with you. I'm in a wait and see mode with Ben Johnson and the Bears. I'm cautiously optimistic though. I do think they've found a coach, but we will see.
I watched most of that game the other day. I was pretty impressed, but also take it with a grain of salt too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know if he has his quarterback.
yeah,
I don't know honestly what he has. And frankly, that is such a hard job for a first time head coach. Like, there's so many reasons why Ben Johnson to Chicago was a bad idea, but maybe he is that guy. And we probably are going to need a couple years of data to know for sure.
I'm a noted Caleb hater, but I think he has made progress within the sandbox, and I think seeing Odunze flash a little bit is big too.
I'm with you on all that, TC, but I think it just comes down to some of these guys in all these sports have never been coached
Yeah.
because we've flipped the leverage with NIL and with everything that we must we must accommodate and basically caddy for them, not coach them. And so Caleb is a great example of, dude, this guy needs to be coached so badly. So if Ben Johnson is like, Is he going to be the Phil Jackson in this scenario? Where like, bro, I got to coach you hard for you to
Yeah.
go anywhere close to your potential. And if Caleb is accepting of that, he has a chance. But he's just never been coached. Because of some of the way he plays was so make it up as you go. I think I'm Patrick Mahomes, and there's so much more to quarterback than that.
I think the good thing is it'll be sink or swim, right? Truly, like they'll know whether it's not a Ben Johnson or coaching issue. It's going to be a Caleb issue, and
Yep.
if he can jive. So, all right, let's run through the NFC South. Bucks.
Todd Bowles can coach, but more importantly, Baker Mayfield is way better than I thought.
He's a
I have to
dude.
admit it. I've
Yeah.
come around on Baker Mayfield. It was fun goofing on him because there's so many Sooner fans that worship him. But I have to admit, he's really, really freaking fun to watch play football.
He's been the highlight of the season so far for me, just watching him play.
Very
Randy, you said the
Farvian.
same thing the other day on our BallKnowers thread.
Yeah, Bob, I'm with you. I got to give Mayfield his props. I'll say this about the Bucks: 3-0. Listen, they haven't put anybody away. I think there are still some questions around this team, but listen. The NFC South is not great, and they should come out of that. But I'm not sure they have the top end
Did you see the next 4 games?
figured out yet. We
Philadelphia.
go Philadelphia at Seattle, Niners at Detroit. I think we're going to learn a lot. And I'm just seeing Mike Evans looks like
Yes.
he's going to miss all of those games. So
Maybe no Mike Evans for that whole
could be
stretch.
tough sledding for the Bucks here.
Igbuka's a stud.
Emeka Ibuka is a stud. That's right.
Straight
He is
up.
a stud.
I'm worried about their teams. Hashtag teams. So Panthers. That was one of the most befuddling games I've ever seen on Sunday.
Yeah.
Falcons going in and getting blown out. I have so many Falcons questions, but Panthers, I can't figure them out either.
No, there's a lot there, but boy, Ted McMillan is changing their math a little bit, and I don't have high hopes for them, but I do think they're going to grab some scalps this season. And Dallas at Carolina in a couple weeks is one that comes quickly to mind as a potential spot. So Carolina, they're trying to figure it out. I think they've got a decent coach, but more data needed. If you don't mind my cop out here.
Is that defense bad, or are they just that's the piece I can't figure out? Because they kept Aviro around and they're
Like
just so hot and cold.
Derek Brown is my guy. Like
Yeah.
that's of course, what you would hope from a 7th pick overall. But overall, yes, they've allowed too many of their top defensive players. Brian Burns is a great example to get out of town, and they definitely need a couple big drafts because they don't have enough dudes on defense for sure.
Yeah, I think this team's a long way away. I don't like Bryce. I don't think he's the answer. I don't think there aren't many guys up and down that roster where I think, oh, that's somebody you build around. I think they're several years and good drafts away.
I think Jalen Coker coming back, he's gonna help them out a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
I think I really like him. All right, Falcons.
I want to like them so much, and I do think their defense is better. And I'm going to assume that the Panthers' loss is not a sign that I was lied to the whole offseason. Bijan Robinson's too good. Penix, I like too much. I think he's too intelligent to fail long term. But man, what the heck was that?
I think the Falcons are a team screaming for an identity. What is Falcons football about? I think it should probably start with Robinson and the run game and trying to be physical and playing off of that. I just never I don't watch every Falcons game, but it just seems like one week they're airing it out and it seems like they're relying on the pass game, and then you got Bijan. I just feel like they have never established a real identity for what they want to do.
I think I am impressed with the defense. I think they hit on the kid from Oklahoma, linebacker. Love Xavier Watts. First time they've had pass rushers since like John Abraham. I mean, Vic Beasley was a fraud, you know, in the meantime, and then they
James
just
Pierce
cycled
is
through
nice.
guys.
Yeah.
But I think it's a low key, like rancid, dysfunctional organization. Like I think it's rotten at the top. I think Arthur Blank has been like low key a pretty terrible owner over the last however long. I think
Yeah.
Raheem Morris, Zach Robinson, Terry Fontenot, like it's just not the crew I want leading. Like I just don't know what their plan is, I think.
Yeah, and this I feel like we've been doing this in 2 and 3 year cycles for quite a
Yeah.
while. You
And I
know,
love
that
Penix, to be honest. Like I'm a huge Penix guy and I have no issue with that draft pick of him and all of that. But it just seems like there's just no DNA there.
no, and the dream of getting Kirk Cousins and then changing the dream within 2 weeks was perfectly Falcons.
Yeah. All right, let's thank a sponsor
Still
real
doesn't
quick.
make sense. Yeah.
Holderness Bourne Fall 25 collection is officially live on hbgolf.com. Got colors inspired by New England in the fall. We'll get to New England. You got Ivy, Cape, Saffron, Bedford, Amherst, Exeter, Hamilton hoodie's a new favorite. That's the kind of the light stripes. Randy been wearing the heck out of that one. Lightest hoodie they've ever designed. Great amount of stretch, heathered fabric on that one. Kind of perfect for fall out in Denver. We've got the new Merino Cashmere program, 3-piece set, Shaw sweater, Logan hoodie, and Cunningham quarter zip. We got the Ryder Cup collection up this week. Cool 1927 trophy logo. Much more clean and subtle logo on the left chest than the kind of that core Ryder Cup logo. HBGolf.com. Use promo code TRAP10 for 10% off your first order. And yeah, don't sleep on their t-shirts either. T-shirts are my go-to travel piece these days. I'm actually wearing one right now. So,
Nice.
all right, back to the show. Let's go AFC.
Boy, the Saints fans are going to be so mad at you.
Oh yeah. You know what? I don't even think we need to address the Saints. They're what a rudderless. Like, do they have instructions from ownership that they just don't want to bottom out and rip the Band-Aid off?
It's a weird job to take, only because you would think Kellen Moore would have some decent options coming off a Super Bowl with that offense, and he took the job, and then it appears the Saints are like, bro, you got 5 years, do whatever you want for this first year, and I don't know. I mean, their schedule is so soft that they're not going to go 0-17 at all. They're going to win a couple games just because, look at their upcoming schedule. It's just too easy to think they're going to be brutal all the time, but they're not good.
I mean, at what point can they, like, do they have to just rip the Band-Aid off and reset from a cap perspective?
I mean, I
Should have
think
been like 2 or 3 years ago.
I mean,
how far into the future can they go?
Well, they kicked the can quite a while, but I don't know that they're trying to win right now. This roster, they're obviously, there's some bills that are due, and they still got, your Cam Jordans and your Demario Davises and so forth. So they haven't quite offloaded everybody. But yes, we're seeing with Kamara still there and so forth that this is a team that realizes, I think, it's at the end of the road, and they're just paying their bills now. And they are going to the Bills, but then after that, I think their next 4 after that they're going to win a few games. Don't you agree, Randy?
Yeah, they'll win.
They got the Giants at home. Come on.
I see them as maybe a 3-win team, maybe 4. Like I said, they've been a little frisky, at least the first 2 weeks. I cannot get over drafting Tyler Showy early in round 2, and he can't even beat out Spencer Rattler. This team needs a hard reset, and we'll see when they actually do.
All right, AFC.
Yes.
AFC East. Bills.
I think they're the best team in the AFC. How about that? I think they're a problem, and I don't know that there's a great team in the AFC right now. But I think if there's not, then the Bills are a very, very, very good team that I expect to be in the Super Bowl.
I'm gonna zag a little bit. I know they beat the Ravens. It was miraculous. That was more a Ravens loss than a Bills win. I think the Bills might be the third best team in the AFC. I would put Baltimore, and we're going to get to the LA Chargers. I am quickly jumping on the Chargers bandwagon. I still think the Bills can be too much of just it's the Josh Allen show, and I think it's the same questions I've had about the Bills for the last 4 or 5 years. Can they win 3, 4 games in a row in the playoffs? The AFC East is not very good. They're going to come out of there. I don't know what's different than past iterations of the Bills, and so
It might
I
just be that the other teams are falling off. Like I don't
could
want to
be.
jump right to the Ravens, but how can we watch the Ravens in these games, not stop anybody at any point and say they're better than the Bills?
Yeah.
I don't. They feel like one side of the ball to me, and then the Chiefs are one side of the ball. So maybe the Bills are just the last team standing once Burrow gets hurt, and they're good to go because there isn't a
But
proper two-sided contender now.
But are we sure the Bills can stop anybody? I guess that's where, listen, if the Ravens beat the Bills 41-40, we're talking much differently about both teams, I think.
Sure.
And that I the Bills were getting gashed all game by the Ravens. I just don't trust that defense, I guess, is where I net out.
The Bills also have a pretty cake schedule for the
Yes.
most part too.
Yes. And I don't hate what I've seen from Joey Bosa. He is up there amongst the pressure leaders so far, and that obviously is health pending. But with Rousseau and Epinesa and Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones, I do think they've got a group of D line that can affect the quarterback enough that they might be okay. But obviously, the Bills are always a team that gets ravaged by injuries as the season goes on, and on that defense. So we'll see.
I just don't have a lot of faith in McDermott either. I'm just not a fan.
No, and he's very uninspiring in many regards. But again, if not the Bills in the AFC, you're going to have to convince
Yeah.
me on somebody else, and I'm not there yet on really anybody in that conference.
Patriots, Neil glazed them. I mean, over the top glazing. I think we had to kind of temper things for him of like, hey, I think they're on the right track. They're probably a year or two away from being a winning outfit. Personally speaking, what do you think,
Yeah.
Bob?
I think I certainly they're amongst the teams that I've watched the least this season, so I don't want to roll in here and be too hot with my takes, but I will say that overall I liked their offseason in the adding of talent, which they desperately needed, and I do think Vrabel knows what he's doing, but I also think that with a young cast like this, it usually is a slow build, and this might be like that first year of Dan Campbell in Detroit,
Yeah.
and then over the next 2 or 3 years, you could see Vrabel and Drake May and that crew start getting it cooking a little bit more. But I don't consider them a big 2025 threat. Sorry, Neil.
I largely agree with that. Listen, I was a bit of a Drake May skeptic. I was a lot of a Drake May skeptic when he was coming out in the draft.
Yeah.
I think they might have one though. He's impressed me a bit, so I think they may have a piece there. I like Vrabel. I trust Vrabel long term. I think it's the right thing. Listen, this might be kind of laying the foundation this year for better years ahead.
Jets.
Lots of interesting pieces that are intriguing that never equal the sum of their parts properly, and they you want to talk about a frustrating couple years with the Aaron Rodgers circus, that would qualify. I think Aaron Glenn's a good hire. I just think, again, see the Falcons and see some of these teams that just run in circles for decades at a time. The Jets certainly qualify as it really New York football in general. Just how do you guys fail to produce a contender almost by accident every couple years between those two franchises?
Yeah, I think this is an ownership issue.
Mhm.
Starts at the top. No faith in the Jets to be anything anytime soon. and that's organizationally.
Dolphins. How does Chris Greer still have a job like 10 or 11 years in?
That's a great question, and we might also wonder about ownership. And McDaniel is sort of the Dan Campbell discussion again, where okay, this guy is not the template of a head coach, but we really like the fact that he wants to kill people and take no prisoners. But when it stops working, he has no advocates, and everybody abandons ship really fast on him. It's hard to fully explain how the Mike McDaniel stock has gone to a point where he is easily the odds-on favorite to be the first coach fired right now.
I
And
was impressed by they did play pretty hard the other
yeah,
night.
yep.
Like I thought they were quitting on him, and it seems like they've kind of rallied around him at this
Yeah,
point.
I don't know. I don't know if he can be saved. I'm disappointed because I thought that was a brilliant hire and I thought he was off to a great start,
Yeah.
but it's not going well, man. And it does feel like personnel is big there, but I don't know where they took a wrong turn so badly. Maybe all in on Tyreek Hill is where it went
And
wrong, even
Tua.
though it went right first. I don't know.
And Tua. Tua might just
And
stink
Tua, sure.
straight up.
Yeah, not much to add with the Dolphins. I feel like
Yeah.
they've always been they're just kind of soft. They're soft. I don't think they can ever win games in the trenches when they have to. And McDonald hasn't changed that about them. And until I think they fix that aspect of their football team, not sure what we're doing.
All right, Chargers. Randy, lead us off. Heavy
I
ball.
think Listen, I love Baugh. I think Jim Harbaugh is great. I'm gonna have to eat a lot of crow on Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert is finally morphing with a lot of help from Jim Harbaugh. They're giving him a more defined sandbox to my eyes and having him excel in maybe a smaller area than when he first broke into the league. I think Harbaugh, listen, I just got done saying that the Dolphins are soft in the trenches. Like Harbaugh is all about being strong in the trenches. They're about being physical on defense. They're about running the ball. And then if you have a quarterback like Herbert, who you can unlock all that potential, I think this team has big upside and would not shock me if I think they strong contender to get out of the AFC to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I thought I would have some real fresh takes here on the Chargers, but Randy's right on. I mean, I, I, I think the world of Jim Harbaugh. I really do. I always have. I guess where I really started getting sold on him was those 49ers teams that he had were not full of superstars, and they were murdering teams physically to a point where they couldn't play the next week because they were so banged up from playing his teams. And then he went to Michigan and found a national title and built a NFL factory up there. Not that Michigan wasn't before that, but he restored Michigan to a very high level. Might have cheated here, but if you're not cheating, you're not trying. And then I knew when he went back to the NFL that a serious franchise needs to get him. And that's why I thought he'd be perfect for the Bears. Instead, he goes to the Chargers, and it never occurred to me he would fail out there, especially with Herbert. So yeah, I'm all in on the Chargers. I think he's great at instilling his personality on his guys.
Even some of those heavy sets he was doing at Stanford back in the
Yes,
day. Randy and
yes,
I were
where he
the
stands up
jumbo
to Pete
stuff.
Carroll. Yeah,
Oh,
right.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
great.
just he is a personality. I think you're right, Bob, that can overcome questions about the Chargers historical ownership
yep.
and what are they, you just need a strong personality like Harbaugh.
Speaking of shitty ownership and just organizational dysfunction, Raiders buying or selling Peter Carroll.
Yeah, they just don't have the guys. I like Pete Carroll, but I mean their roster is in many ways kind of the Saints-ish in terms of you just don't have the dudes. And if you don't have the dudes in this league, you don't have a chance.
Do we like Genty?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one. Listen, I'm with you. I'm a big Peter Carroll fan. I think the next few weeks for the Raiders are going to be very interesting. They have the Bears at home this week. They go to Indianapolis. They have the Titans at home. I could see a world where the Raiders get to 4-2 and we all feel really good about the direction they're headed, or they could lose a couple of those. I don't know, but it's going to be a shame when Pete Carroll gets too old to be an effective head coach. I don't think we're there yet, and I hope we're a long way away from that day, because that NFC, or excuse me, the AFC West, just the collection of 4 coaches in there, it's magnificent.
Fun as heck.
Broncos. That's a team I can't figure out. Like, I want to get on the bandwagon, I think. I like what they're about. I like the defense a lot. Big Cortland Sutton guy. Am I wrong there? It seems like they really want to run the ball.
Yeah, love the defense. Don't love the offense yet. Still think their offensive line needs a little. Still need that passing game. Sean Payton usually has solutions, but for now, that's a defensive heavy side, which by the way will take you a lot of places. Again, go see Minnesota. It's not easy to go to Denver and to play competent offense there, and that goes back to Wade Phillips and beyond. I mean, Vic Fangio. I mean, that's a team that gets defense.
Bob, do you still feel that Sean Payton is, quote, Mike McCarthy with a better PR?
Yeah, I do. I think they have almost identical careers. Now if Sean Payton turns the Broncos into a power, I may have to walk that back. But to this point, Sean Payton is Mike McCarthy with a better PR firm. Absolutely, okay. Quote me.
I was kind of uncomfortable with all the Bo Nix love. He's just never quite done it for me. I think that's largely a product of I saw him too much in college. That's a concern for me. I will say, after I just got done saying glowing things about the Chargers, I mean, the Broncos went there and they were right in that football game. So if the Chargers are as good as I think they are, I think this Broncos team will be they will be a very good, solid football team. Bad loss to Indianapolis. I'm afraid they might get healthy Monday against my Bengals, but we shall see. I agree with what Bob said.
The thing about the loss against the Chargers, they were +2 in turnovers. They still had just 260 yards of offense, just no production all day from the Broncos, and that's disappointing in that spot.
All right, Chiefs.
Franchise malpractice, I know they deserve the benefit of the doubt, but the offense is impossible to watch. They're putting so much on Mahomes. He's every bit as great as he's always been, and Randy should probably apologize to Mahomes at least once a year for slander. But I would just say overall, they've kind of let him down to basically have this idea that Rashee Rice is like prime Jerry Rice, that when he gets back he'll save us. Give me a break. They have their skill position right now is a 35-year-old Travis Kelce and Hope, and it's brutal.
Yeah, they're tough to watch. Spagnuolo and the defense are great.
Yep.
I don't. This team doesn't scare me as is, though. I think they're clearly a step behind some of the other AFC teams at this point.
They're like last in explosive plays, like these last couple of years. And the fact that they were in the Super Bowl last year, and the fact we were shocked that they got rolled in the Super Bowl, it's a testament to a few guys propping that whole thing up. But man, with Mahomes at his age, they should be doing everything they can to improve their chances, because this window does not stay open forever.
I think the Rashee Rice shirts as well, just disgusting people. I mean, truly, they're fucking awful, man. Like,
It's
a
wild,
rancid group of human beings. All right, I want to get to like AFC North, AFC South. Those are kind of both of our realms, Randy. But I do want to talk. We've got about 10 or 15 minutes left.
Yeah, can I just apologize? I know you wanted to run through every team like in the first 10 minutes, and then we could have nice big conversations. And now we're an hour into it, and we still have like 2 divisions, and I would like to take responsibility. I talk way
No,
too
it's
much.
okay. It's okay.
No,
Well,
you
let's
don't.
let's thank our last partner. That's FanDuel. Trap Draws brought to you by FanDuel. Football fans, every NFL Thursday, it's your chance to hit the jackpot on FanDuel. What do we got this Thursday? What's the
Don't we have AFC, NFC West, right? Don't we?
It is
Seahawks?
Cardinals,
Cardinals?
Seahawks. Yep.
Yeah.
Good. That's a good Thursday night game. Might have to get involved in that. So they got their
Let me
Thursdays
say, I hate
touchdown. Yeah.
divisional Thursday night games.
I,
I
oh,
think they're
yeah. I don't think
unfair
it's.
for the teams.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They've got their Thursday touchdown jackpot. You can win a share of $2 million in bonus bets each week. To get in on this Thursday's action, all you have to do is place an anytime touchdown scorer bet before the game. Seahawks and Cardinals kicks off. I had it in there even. And if your player scores the first or last TD of the game, you'll win your bet plus a share of bonus bets. I think Trey Benson could be a sneaky good option there. So
Let's go.
FanDuel.com/trapdraw for your chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets. Play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in select states, or 18 or older present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt in. Must apply. Profit boost token on select market. Prize pool to be split equally amongst all eligible participants who made the correct first or last TD pick. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 21 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit rd-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut.
Was that all off the top of your head?
It was. Yeah,
That's pretty good.
just nailed it. So, all right, let's run through AFC North and AFC South quickly, because I think we can do. I think next one. I think they're both pretty fascinating divisions. And Randy, I think the AFC North is probably the most fascinating division in football right now. So I would love to talk about that on a future episode, like in greater detail, as well as the Jags. But Bob, what are you seeing out of the Bengals? Is it just like do they cash it in, or do they?
Well, I just they're very frustrating as an organization, and that's a Mike Brown, Duke Tobin thing. And I think it would probably be a shame if I was a big fan of that team, Randy, or if I was drafted by that team. It's just they're not serious people, and yes, there's been some bad luck, and yes, they went to a Super Bowl in the last 5 years. So I suppose we should extend some grace and latitude to them. But just the way they conducted themselves this entire offseason was such that they're actually trying to sabotage themselves. And so anything the team accomplishes win-wise is almost in spite of things. And may all of the NFL franchises that are ruined by ownership that's complete morons, may they all be saved someday by competent replacements like that happened in Washington. There,
Randy, floor is yours.
It's tough to argue with the macro thesis there. I'll go micro then. I didn't like him no showing in Minnesota. I mean, didn't even get off the plane. 3 fumbles and 4 snaps or whatever. Like that just points to they were not ready to play. I was optimistic that they could tread water with Jake Browning at the helm. I think we're going to have to see some proof of that soon, if that's a reality. The schedule does not get easier for him in the next 3 weeks. It's actually quite brutal. The Burrow question is a bigger discussion, I think. Just a total shame. I don't know. You catch me on one day and I worry that the window is kind of shut and the best days are behind. And then you catch me on other days and I think there's a case to be made that, with Burrow, Chase, and Higgins, you can always kind of have a shot, at least, a chip in a chair if you can get in the playoffs. But yeah, I'm kind of bummed that this might be a lost season, and that sucks.
Is the push floated this last night in our thread? Hendrickson to the Niners for a 3rd and a 4th. Is that just smoke, or is there something to that?
I would need more than that. I would probably need a second,
especially because
and a
you're going to get a compensatory, right? When he
third.
walks.
The Niners, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that does transfer. I think Daniel Jones taught us that you don't even need to have them very long, and you still get the comp pick, which is crazy. I would hate to do that, but they're definitely not keeping Hendrickson after that nonsense this summer, right?
Yeah.
Well, they actually, yeah, there's like a pretty conceivable pathway that they could hang on to him next year. But I think that would be it at most. The defense sucks. Like I'm with you. It goes back to Duke Tobin. Like they've missed on so many high
Corners.
defensive
Oh,
draft picks that in a real organization there
even
would
going back to
be,
like Dre Kirkpatrick.
well, there
Just
would just be
I
pressure
suck.
to change at the general
Yeah.
manager level. But it's not going to happen. It's weird though because I like Al Golden. I thought that was a decent DC hire. They have a few pieces. I don't know, Bob. It's just they're not the sum of any parts right now, and I think that's what's hard.
No, that's a very frustrating part, and yeah, these next several weeks are probably going to doom them to a second consecutive. No, was that 23? That was 23 where they were the other lost season. I'm trying to remember my Bengals
Yeah,
lost seasons here. Yeah,
23.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then
it
last year was just a wasted one.
yeah, it's just it's not good, man. It's
Yeah.
this these are supposed to all be glorious years, and you wouldn't wish this upon anybody.
Yeah.
This is a rough scene. But the Reds may be a wild card team, and I think we should focus on that.
What all right, let's save the rest of the AFC North and AFC South for future
Oh,
when
I thought there
we
was.
we
I
want
think
to
we
do it.
got to talk. Can we talk about the Ravens at least?
All right, all right, Steelers real quick. Buying or selling?
Yeah, I'm out.
Okay.
I'm out.
I'm out on the Steelers. I'm sorry. I don't think Tomlin or Rodgers are near the height of their powers, and I think this is the last gasp of desperation from that franchise, and I won't be investing heavily in the Pittsburgh Steelers at this point.
Okay.
Same.
All right, Ravens.
All right, Bob.
Yes.
I think the Ravens, when they're on, are the best team. I guess my question is, why don't we get the Ravens best more consistently? Does that fall to where do you net out on John Harbaugh? Should that seat be warm, or what is this team lacking? I know the defense isn't great, but I texted Tron and these guys last night. Like when the Raven, I don't know how you're supposed to stop Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. And
Right.
and I guess the Lions kind of showed us like you just got to have enough athletes making plays on the other side of the ball. But that twosome still scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, and it's weird because I think your average guy in the NFL does think the Ravens defense is a special defense just because it always has been in our lifetime since they moved to Baltimore is the Ravens have a good defense and they just don't. And it's weird because you look at Hamilton or Roquan or Metabike or a lot of their defensive pieces, Humphrey, and you're like, well, this guy can play. This guy's an all pro. You know, so it does look like they've put the effort and the money into defense. They just don't stop anybody ever. And so that puts so much pressure on the offense. Now the offense is wonderful. In fact, they've kind of broken the code now that they actually use wide receivers in these last couple of years. And it's not just tight ends and run and Lamar run game. They're actually outside the numbers and killing people in many respects. So they're going to be in it till the very end. But man, when you follow this league year after year after year, it's so hard to talk yourself into a team that can't get stops. And I know they were down Metabike last night, and he's a heck of a player. But you know they in those two games against contenders, they've given up basically 80 points, and I'm going to need to see way more than 10 points a quarter against contenders for both of those showdown games. I assume they can't give up 40 to the Chiefs because that's like a season for the Chiefs, but that it's pretty rough to just watch the Lions just mess with them and toy with them and just be like fourth down at midfield up 7 with 2 minutes to go. Sure, we can get this, and they could. And so the Ravens are not scaring the best teams in the league, and that should probably push the Ravens down a notch or two, at least in my personal power poll, which is often wrong, Randy. So maybe stick with it if you like it.
I think they're gonna grow a little bit. I think that defense come together. I think Ball Zero should go up to Buffalo. I think he should be the new coach of the Bills.
Yeah, Bob, you didn't answer. Do you ultimately put this on the
Oh,
coaching, or is it
I mean,
player acquisition?
I'll be honest with you. I really struggle in this department where a guy wins double digit games every year and just doesn't win a Super Bowl. Like the amount of winning that John Harbaugh has done, especially during the Lamar run, is darn near the best in the league. Of course, the Chiefs would have something to say about that. But the Ravens are winning 10, 12, 13 games every single year. So the idea that you should be on the hot seat because you're not winning a Super Bowl, I get it, but it also sounds insane to me. And maybe that's my blind spot in life, because I would tell you McCarthy going 12-5 every year in Dallas is actually a good thing, not a horrible thing that proves how bad he is that they lose in the playoffs. So what is the mystery of taking this giant sample size and converting it down to this one game in January each year and saying which one should we believe that testifies to somebody's genius or greatness? I always say, well, the 50 games has to be more than this one fluke call that,
Yeah.
again, it's a blind spot. I realize that.
There's just something there though, right? That you
There's
can't put your
something.
finger on. And I think the other thing that's counting against him is he's not a scheme guy, right? He doesn't have a scheme. He's very dependent upon,
That's true.
Monken as the offensive coordinator and whoever his defensive coordinator is at the time. And I think that's where like it really bugs me that defense isn't better.
Yeah,
How
no,
many
it
dudes they
does.
have.
It does. And I don't know necessarily the solution for the Ravens, but I just can't imagine the solution is blow out a coach that
Oh, I
is
know.
is just
Crazy.
generational in terms of wins versus losses, which is what this whole sport's
In a
about, right?
crazy hard division too. It's
Yes. Yes.
crazy.
So
Uh
I don't know. I
yeah.
mean, in many ways, Lamar has to win at some point to be put in that top tier, and that feels really unfair to him. And at the same time, it's how we've calculated greatness our entire lives in really every sport. But if you keep setting up 8-foot birdie putts, you're going to make one at some point if you have home field in the playoffs every year. I don't
Does Kevin Stefanski have a lifetime contract?
know.
I think he does.
I think he probably yes, and I think maybe he should, since the Deshaun Watson
Yeah.
and trade was pushed on him, and frankly, even seeing the video of the Browns war room when they took Shador Sanders, it looked a lot like a bunch of guys who were just trying to smile because they were doing what they were told by ownership. So
Yeah.
once again, please see ownership, which I would like to congratulate you guys for your deep dives on NFL ownership, because it has so much to do with winning and losing in this league. And nobody likes to talk about it, partly because those owners will call the network and demand you get fired if you talk about it too much, probably. But it's so correlated to how a team wins, long term.
I mean, the best thing that could have happened to the Browns is like Jimmy Haslam. Nobody takes the fall for him, and he goes to federal prison, because that's probably what should have happened.
Prison could
Um,
save a lot of teams, TC.
yeah. All right, we got AFC South. So basically, on the agenda today, we're gonna go deep into the Cowboys and talk about the Micah trade and just give us your on the ground,
Yeah.
reporting, just kind of battlefield coverage of what's going on in the Plex. How are people? I think we need to have you back on in a couple weeks to
Or
do
look,
that.
People love you, Big Bob. You
Yeah,
got to come
yeah.
back.
or we could say screw the AFC South and do 15 minutes on that. If you guys still have it, I'm willing to do it. And we can blow through it here and make it happen. It's up to you
Oh,
guys,
let's
but
get you
I
back
realize I
on if
talked too
you're
much.
willing to come back on in a
Of
couple
course.
weeks
Of
and do that,
course.
because I think we talk about the AFC South real quick, and then
Okay.
we do real agenda stuff. I had this whole agenda planned out, but this has been great because it's just talking about everybody organically, I think. So,
That's right.
okay, so Colts.
I would also want Bob's sober analysis on Joe Burrow on a future episode.
Yeah, I'd love to get in on all the quarterback talk because I think I have a tight five on just about everybody in this league, and there are so many great conversations, and you guys get into it, and you know, from Dak to Hurts to Purdy to
I think that's the thing. We do
yeah,
the Hertz convo, we do the Dak convo.
right.
You
They're
know, we
all
do the
there.
Jerry convo. We do
Then I can pump the
the
tires on Jared
Netflix
Goff. Oh, the
convo. Yeah,
Netflix
yeah,
thing. I
yeah.
mean, come on.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
There's a whole nother episode there.
All right.
All right, Colts, Vanilla Vic.
Yeah, I did not see this coming, of course, and they're out of the gates 3-0. And I assume this will be one of the quick starts that filters or that falters a bit. But Michael Pittman's a stud. Jonathan Taylor has certainly shown his quality. I don't think they know what they're doing, especially with the Ursay daughters with headsets on now. I think
I love that.
there's great material for potential fun down the road as the coach and the GM are now made crazy by headsets for everybody. But they have absolutely drawn my interest getting out of the gates like this. But it's Daniel Jones. Come on.
I know that's where I net out. Do love some of the pieces you mentioned. Pittman and Taylor. I mean, Tyler Warren looks like a awesome pick. He kind of fell into their lap this year.
Defense is decent.
Yes, Tyler
Spent
Warren's
some money.
great. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is like the AFC South, like they could ride this thing. It a little bit of whiffs of the Vikings last year for me, just in terms of
yeah.
could have a gaudy record, but you know, come playoff time, I'm not sure they're really scaring anybody.
Yeah.
No, but I like
kind
that
of the
take.
AFC South, you know, MO. All right, Jaguars. I think it's too early to say. The pieces we're taking hold, guys. I'm going to take this one by the horns.
Please
The
do.
pieces are there. O-line still needs a lot of work. We're running the ball again for the first time in like a decade. It's great. I think Cohen's the dude. I don't know if Trevor's the dude. And I think, you know, I know he had a lot of drops this past week, but he also like missed a lot of throws too from a accuracy and placement standpoint. Like the new defensive scheme, I don't think they have any clue yet how to use Travis Hunter. And yeah, Brian Thomas, not sure what's going on there. That could be a Shane Waldron type of issue.
I think they have a very underrated defensive personnel. Like Josh Hines Allen is not a household name in the NFL, but he's a productive dude. Eric Armstead's always been great. Devin Lloyd's you know, a stud, and of course
Lloyd's taken a big step forward this year after
yes,
kind of being miscast the last few years. And
yes.
Trayvon Walker's fucking good.
Trayvon Walker's good. He's always going to be dealing with the labels of 1-1, but that's okay. He'll make him really rich. Jordan Lewis is a nice signing from out of here. That dude's a dog. He always has been
awesome last week. Yeah,
and of course Travis Hunter is Travis Hunter. So the bones are there for a real solid defense. If you're confirming Liam Cohen's you know, quality, then I'm cool with that. I did like what he did, of course, in his many stops along the way. So it's a lot on his plate, but I don't hate it, and I've been waiting for this for a couple of years from Jacksonville because it kind of looked like there were a couple false dawns with old Peterson and such, and you know they're sorting it out as they go. But I think they're again. I think if the Texans have cleared the path for everybody else in this division, somebody's going to vacuum into that power, and it looks like Jags Colts is the big tug of war here.
Weirdly, I think also it seems to me like Tony Baselli is like he's transformed the culture around there, and I think it's a big thing. It feels a little bit like the Dan Campbell, like, hey, we're gonna bet on character and we're gonna bet on very specific traits here on guys. So
I don't hate it.
I'll quickly, their upcoming schedule is very interesting. At San Francisco, home against Kansas City, home against Seattle, home against the Los Angeles Rams, at Las Vegas, at Houston, home against the Chargers, at the Cardinals. That is Not an easy stretch. I think we're going to learn a ton about the
Yeah.
Jaguars over the next several weeks, and I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it. I think weirdly, I had in mind this team was going to be all offense, all go 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 go, and they might actually be a better team with like running the ball and defense,
Yeah.
and
Tyson
kind
Campbell's
of
a dude.
Yep.
limiting
I like the
what
Tim Patrick
Trevor does.
trade too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If he's always shown signs of being,
Yeah.
a player, but of course could not get some injury luck.
Texans.
What a roller coaster ride. I'm not positive I've ever really met a Texans fan. And I live in Texas, so that's kind of weird. But it's just everything about the franchise feels kind of AI generated.
Yeah.
But just overall, the fact that like 3 years ago they were the worst franchise in football, and then they were the best franchise in football, and now they're back to being maybe the worst franchise in football does not scream stability and consistency. And again, please see ownership and front office. But just overall, I think they got to be in the mix for the most disappointing team in the league. And the crowning of like C.J. Stroud, and the offensive line has been a joke, and they changed out half of the line and it still stinks. And so there's a lot there that is
Yeah.
just unsatisfying in
I just
many
never
ways.
know how Caserio, like, it's similar to the Patriots philosophy of years past, of just like, I don't know how he evaluates talent, and I've kind of given up on trying to figure it out. And I didn't hate the Tunsil trade. They just stocked up on all these receivers in the mid rounds, and that, seemingly they didn't quite fully need. And then every time I watch Stroud just doesn't seem to have a lot of energy.
He's a weird cat. There's something about him that is worth studying up on because of his personality and his background. I don't think he was
Yeah.
homeschooled, but he's a very serious guy. I certainly was amused to see that he apologizes to his teammates when he cusses, which is pretty rare in the National Football League. But it's great for the kids, I suppose. Amon-Ra St. Brown might attest to that, open mic night. But I think he's really good. I just think they are quickly seeing that when they put everything on him, the diminishing returns happen quickly. And it's the opposite of the Eagles. When the Eagles are good because they win up front in both directions, and the Texans have the defense sorted, but they never went up front offensively, and that goes back years and years and years. When J.J. Watt was there, we were saying this, and so they just can never figure out the trenches.
Will Anderson's a stud. Like, and the
Yep.
Jags got a gift with Stingley being out
Yep.
last week.
Yeah, just the blaring, flashing red lights of CJ Stroud, like really regressing now in year 3 from what he showed in year 1. I think that's very concerning. A lot of that, as you guys said, could be offensive line and not giving him much help. But yeah, not much to add. Very, very disappointing. I took him high in our team draft, thinking between the schedule and the division, they the floor was looking like 10 wins, and now it's like, oh God, I don't know. Maybe it's a 6-win team this year.
Sorry.
I just
Go
don't.
ahead.
Well, they had Bobby Slowick, and then they
Yeah.
replaced him with
They
Nick
pinned all the
Caley.
blame on him.
Yeah, they did. And then they just took the tight ends coach from the Rams and made him their OC this year because, again, guys who know McVay, well, let's hire them. And I don't know, man. It just seems like a job that's too big for them. But maybe it's all just because they don't have the dudes, which goes back to Caserio and their goofy owner.
Last and least, the Titans. Randy, is your guy Brian Callahan going to make it?
Bob, he always tries to make Brian Callahan my guy.
That's what he does, Randy.
I did not like this coaching hire for the Titans when they made it. I was shocked that Callahan would get this job. I do like Cam Ward. I think
Me
Cam
too.
Ward's a dog. I
Yeah.
just think I hope the situation doesn't break him
It's a
before
moribund
he can
organization.
flourish.
An awful defense.
Yeah. There's a lot about what the. I mean, they're miles and miles away, unfortunately. And you just look at that team, and yes, that does scream a team that can definitely ruin a young quarterback. There's a couple guys I would try to get out of there, like Jeffrey Simmons, who usually wrecks things on the inside, but just overall, both sides of the ball, just not enough. They need top five picks and many of them to try to fix things, and so that's not where you want to be drafted. So I don't plan on spending a whole lot of Sundays on Tennessee Titans football for the near future.
They did hit on the guy from Stanford, Elamine
Ayumiyor,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, he's good.
the
He's good at
Canadian.
Stanford. And then it's just a moribund franchise. Bad, bad owners, bad uniforms, bad fans, all of it. It's just
Bad
not a good.
stadium, honestly.
Yeah,
That
it's
stadium
just
kind of
all of it. Take it
stinks.
away.
Yeah.
Take it away. So, Bob, that's all we've got for you today. We're gonna send you on
We
your
got to
way.
our first item on our agenda.
Yeah, yeah. And then we will actually do the agenda and talk all things Jerry and you know topics
Yeah, man.
next time.
I'm
So,
so I'm I always enjoy joining you guys. I will make time whenever, and it's an honor and a pleasure, boys.
how can people that listen to us like like it when you hop on? How can they get more Bob Sturm in their lives?
Well, they'll be sorry, but you go to @sportsturm, SPORTSSTURM on the Twitter X, and that's a good place to start. I'm on the ticket in Dallas. You can stream us every day if you want to hear cowboy talk and us making fun of them. And also, Sturm Stack on the Substack is where I write all the stuff, and I like football very, very much.
Yes, you do. Well, thanks for joining.
Yeah,
Thanks for
man.
listening.
Thank you, Ball Knower Bob.
Thanks for all of your content, boys. I couldn't live without NLU in my life.
It's very nice.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. And we will get Sturm back on here in the next, I don't know, 2, 3 weeks to dig in on all those topics that were on our agenda that we didn't get to. I will be back next week with Cody. We're going to do some voicemails, monitoring, just a chop session. And then just disclaimer here for our friends at FanDuel. Must be 21 or older and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. See you next time.